Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Three in the Keystone, episode 57. We have the full squad in the building tonight. Al Ryan, Chris Guest, and myself, Adam Seltzer. There's not a lot of number 57s in the sports world, boys. We're getting to a little dry area, but there was really two options, but I'm going to have to go with that Johan Santana episode.
Yeah,
There's not many headliners.
I can't think of any.
I'm going with the old Channel 57, which ended up becoming UPN. Yeah, WPSG ended up becoming UPN, right? That's what I was going to go with.
The only other name out there was Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, okay, no, we don't. Johan's fine.
Yeah,
shout out
when we get into the number 60s, it's going to get ugly because there's really
offensive
lineman.
It's going to be all the hogs. Some of the big listeners probably can't wait.
No doubt. Little housekeeping for everyone. Starting next week, we will be moving to our fall/winter schedule, I would say, as we will be releasing on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays. So the spring-summer season comes to an end. We will move to Wednesday release day starting next week.
If you're not following, follow on Instagram. I put the countdown every week. So you don't even have to, you just have to look at the Instagram post, click the reminder on there at 3K_podcast. You'll have a reminder every week. I do it for you out of the bottom of my heart.
And Al's put in a lot of work. Last night he posted some pictures of the Eagles training camp. There is a lot. You're missing a lot if you're not following us on Instagram or X. Put your X's up.
Al, what did you think with boots on the ground last night? What was your thoughts?
Well, we're gonna get in the Phillies first. We're gonna the Phillies first, and then I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse.
A little taste.
A little bit of taste.
It's called a tease in the industry.
Tickle your fancy.
But we'll start with our Philadelphia sports segment for one. We're going to split it in two this week. We'll start with the Philadelphia Phillies. They're coming off a series win over the Kansas City Royals, taking 2 out of 3 after taking 3 out of 4 from those Miami Marlins. But I really want to talk, boys, about Trea Turner, the reaction that happened on Friday night. So for those of you guys who aren't aware, Trea Turner comes into the series against the Royals with a 1 for 16, the Miami series goes 1 for 16. He's in a 3 for 36 slump, and it really has been terrible the entire season. 238 average, 291 on base, 378 slugging. He also made an error that cost him a game in that Miami series. And all of a sudden, social media, you see this trend. They say, let's not boo Trea Turner. We're going to give him a standing ovation. So he comes to the plate Friday. He gets the standing ovation. Goes 1 for 4. They do it again Saturday night. Ends up going 4 for 12 in the series. Hits a homer, 2 doubles. Plays a really good shortstop for the weekend. I have a lot of questions. Was this corny? Are you into it? Did this actually affect him? Al, where are you at on the standing ovation for Trea Turner?
Dude, this is bizarro world Philadelphia. Like, can you imagine living in this world 10 years ago, 20 years ago? We used to watch the MVP of the league, Ryan Howard, get booed after an at-bat because he struck out. Dude, I don't – listen, I'll say this. It shows maturity on our parts as a fan base that we're willing to do this. And it absolutely affected him, at least in this small sample size, because as you said, he goes 4 for 12. He wins us the game the other day on Saturday. So did it work in this bubble? Yes, it did. A little bit of, instead of the booing and the booing back and the I effing hate this place, we get the cheering and we get the nice little thank you fans billboard on 95 from Mr. Turner.
So you're in on the ovation.
I'm in. What I wonder is, like, why Trea? Is it because of the money? Is it because of the pedigree coming in? Or, and this is my thought, is it because he just looks like a nerd? Like, dude looks like a dork. Like, he's a harmless little guy twerp that I think that it makes him a little bit more lovable because of that, because you could see him at a bar and beat him up. Like, so I think that's part of it too.
So let me jump in before I get Chris's immediate reaction to answer that question. I don't think it's any of those things. I think it's the fact that we need him, and everybody knows that we need him. There are other guys that you can boo, the Kyle Schwarbers of the world, and I don't know if necessarily that's what their performance is going to affect things. But if Trea Turner doesn't turn this thing around to his capabilities, which he's obviously underperformed, then this team is not going anywhere. So I think it was a matter of we need to help this guy turn it around, because he is playing way below his, forget his ceiling. He's not even at his par level in regards to where he can be. So that's where I think it's coming from. And the fact that not only does he look like a nerd, but he looked depressed. He looked in his own head. You could look in his eyes and see that dude was confused and lost and didn't know why the hell he was struggling.
But didn't we need Ryan Howard? I don't
but
like.
The difference is social media is what drove this standing ovation, and the social media world wasn't as big back then. There's no way they could have got the standing ovation back together in 2008. There was just no momentum.
You could argue that we needed Nicky Bats last season, and this never happened.
But the offense was performing at that point in time. Like, the offense has been so underperforming. We're looking for a spark plug to get it going. That's where I think it's coming from. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't even necessarily agree that this is going to turn him around. I need to see Trea Turner do it off of somebody other than Zepra or Zach Greinke or whoever else is throwing meatballs for the Kansas City Royals. Let's not act like he hit these homers off Steven Strider. Again, it was a good series. He played well defensively. He made plays. But I'm not sitting here saying Trea Turner's fixed after one series against some of the worst pitching in the league. They're throwing slop up there all weekend.
I got a lot to say about this one. So 100% Seltzer. The Royals pitching might be the worst in baseball.
Because Chris, and I don't mean to interrupt you real quick. I watched a lot of that series. Their record as a team is horrible, and position player wise, I didn't think they were that bad. I thought they played decent baseball.
They're young, they're spunky, they could be dangerous, especially in that kind of environment where they feel like they have something to play for. And they showed that. They came out and hit
terrible.
But their pitching is just, they had that one guy, Coleman or whatever his name was in the bullpen, came in with an 11.08 ERA, 305 batting average against, 15 strikeouts in 30 innings. What is that? So here's my thing. As a guy who's empathetic almost to a fault, as a guy who, has coached kids and things like that before, as a guy who just cares for my fellow man, and that's a lot to say these days because a lot of people don't have that anymore. I get the support, right? If there's a kid on my team and he's struggling and he needs that, you can see he's physically and emotionally just checked out because of his performances. I get the support. I get giving him a high five, a slap on the ass, giving him a boost, the whole thing. Trea Turner is a professional athlete. Trea Turner just signed a $300 million contract. It is up to Trea Turner to figure out where his transgressions are as a professional. It is not up to Joe from Doylestown or Al from Havertown to figure out.
Springfield, get it right, guest. Go Cougars.
It's not up to us as fans to get him right. Seltzer, you pointed out that, and I was actually critical of your comment about it when you said it, but when we got Turner, you pointed out his digression since 2020, really, where his numbers, a lot of his numbers overall have been on the downward slope of the graph. This is not really new if you follow baseball really closely. Now, he had he's won a ring and things like that, but I think that the trend for him, his performance personally, there's been some downward trends for a little bit of time now. That started even before he got here. So that's what I'm a little bit concerned with. But the fact that we I'll be brutally honest, and I love being a Philadelphian and I love what we're all about. I think it was kind of weird. Like Al, you said it, but it was bizarre. What about Aaron Nola? Has he not been having a good season? Does he not deserve a pat on the back? How about JT Realmuto when he gets to the plate? If I'm those guys having the season that they're having, I'm like, yo, what's up? Why not give me the boost? Can a brother get a boost? Why Trea? Like you said, why Trea? And I think a lot of us to do with, I've heard this before. I don't know if I go back before if I agree or disagree with it, but the fact that he chose Philadelphia gives him a sense of, with the fans, almost a pass. Like he could have gone anywhere and he chose to go to the Phillies. But if that's the case, like, so like Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, even JT Realmuto, he was here via trade, but before he got traded, the story was he wanted to come to the Phillies. These guys all chose the Phillies. They've all been having down seasons this year. Why not them get that support? Aaron Nola's a homegrown talent. Why not give him that support? They booed Trey last week. It wasn't like they were all like, oh, we don't know what to do. Like, they were booing the guy in the building. I was there for the Brewers game, the day game. They booed him. All of a
Deservedly
sudden,
so.
one person on social media has an idea and they run with it, but it wasn't really an organic thing. It was kind of manufactured, which makes it also more strange to me.
I think one of the beautiful things about this city is that the sports fans in this city take their sports so personally, where when a player isn't performing to the caliber that we believe he or she should be, we boo and we let them know it. And I think, Chris, that if we went ahead and then did that cheering thing for not just Trea Turner, but for everybody else in the Phillies that have been struggling this year, that would rip that away, that almost that identity that we have, and then we would just be a St. Louis.
You become the Cardinals, right?
St.
An
Louis
Oklahoma City, right? And then all of a sudden we don't have that grit. We don't take it personally when they do bad, when they play bad. And now we end up not caring because everything is nice. It's just nice to be at the ballpark. So I like that it was just a one-off, but Chris, I'm with you. It was
But it
weird.
wasn't. It was every game of the series.
Yeah, if it continues to happen, I'm out.
Well, it was every. I thought maybe it'd be Friday night. It was the whole weekend.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
what if it worked? What if this was the spark that Trea Turner needed, and all of a sudden now we try for somebody else and it works again, and it takes the weight off of them? Are we still out if that happens?
No, if it's gonna lead to a ring, I'll do anything, dude. I'll
Right.
bring signs. I'll bring what do you want me to do?
Because from a psychological standpoint, if you realize that this city is behind you and that takes a weight off of your shoulders for whatever reason, and you're not pressing as much as you need to, again, I take it from a golf perspective. You know, I'm playing with a partner of mine who's, you know, playing really well, and I'm not playing that great. And all of a sudden, every time I swing the club, I feel so much more pressure because I want to perform for that person. But when I have that person coming to me and saying, "You got this. You can do this. Whatever happens, happens," it loosens you up. It does.
It's true, but there's also everybody's their own person.
Yes.
Some people do better with that pat on the back, that hey, go get them next time, and some people do better with the tough love.
Yep.
I don't think it has to be a person by person basis.
100%. And I think too that you don't think. I mean, let's give Trea Turner some credit. Do you think maybe him hitting a home run got him a little bit of confidence? I mean,
Absolutely.
like that was a big part of it. Now he saw a ball go out the park. Harper had it recently too. All of a sudden he's got a couple home runs recently. These guys are professionals, and he did something. He hit the home run. The fans didn't. This is an Angels in the outfield. All right, we didn't just groove a ball down the plate for him to hit a home run with it. Like, he did that. So now that he has that confidence in himself to say, "Hey, I can do that again," it's not gone. I think that went a long way, probably longer than the fans giving him a standing. Was it nice for him? Sure, he's a human being. Everybody wants to be cheered. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be supported. But I feel like it was just strange in how it came about and how it's been inconsistent with others who are also having tough seasons, not getting that. To me, it's like something like that to me, it's gotta be all or nothing. Like, either you do it for your team, the whole team, or you don't do it.
But doesn't it lose its luster then, Chris? Like, would you like to see tomorrow a standing ovation for Kyle Schwarber, standing ovation for JT Realmuto, standing ovation for Jake Cave?
Well, it doesn't have to be the same time. I'm just saying, like, we're a smart base, right? So you know a guy is, 2 for his last 40. All right, he comes to bat, you stand up, come on, bro, like, we got this, you're gonna be good. Aaron Nola is only every fifth day now. Right now, sixth day because of the Lorenzen edition. You go out there, you give him an ovation when he comes to the mound. Like, not the rest of the year. Maybe just the next 1 or 2 starts. Give him some confidence. Let him know, like, we're still here with you. We know what you did for us in the past. At times, now we know he also has kind of had the Embiid syndrome where he he has shown up sometimes, but he's also not shown up sometimes in big moments. So he's kind of been 50-50. But like when these guys are struggling, I mean, it's not fair to boo him and then cheer and give a standing ovation to Trea Turner. That breeds, I think, discontent.
Do you guys think, though, that the lay fan, the casual fan, knows the degree to which an Aaron Nola is struggling or a JT is struggling versus a Trea Turner? Because Trea Turner struggling is cooler talk. The casual fan knows about that. Everybody knows about that. But the Tuesday night game that, barely 15,000 people are at, do you think a lot of those fans know or give a shit about Nola's struggles? I'm asking that seriously, not facetiously.
I think that's a great point. And that's what I was actually going to get at as well. If even if last week on the podcast before all this happened, if I said to you guys which Philly has underperformed the most of all the Phillies this year, the answer is unanimously Trea Turner.
Right.
I don't think you can go any other way. As bad as Nola, as bad as Schwarber have been. So I think again, you can't do this for every single person. So it has to be Trea Turner because he's the one who has underperformed the most. He's also the one that you brought in as your prized offseason acquisition. So with those two things in place, he has to be the guy that if you're going to make this rally around, that's going to be it. But again, I got to see it against major league pitching. What they saw this weekend wasn't major league pitching.
And to your point too, like Schwarber, his average has been awful. His on base percentage is awful, but he's at least hitting home runs. He's at least hitting RBIs at this point now. He had a good weekend this week, or at least a good Sunday. Aaron Nola, as bad as he's been statistically, if you look at like his WHIP is actually still pretty decent. His strikeouts are decent, but he's not winning games.
He just gives up a million homers.
Innings. Huh?
Do we even need him?
He gives up a million homers.
That's what I'm saying. But like,
do we even need him though?
For a while, he was top 10 still on WHIP. He was still top 10. He's had bad imploding innings, but it's not like it's been like from inning 1 to inning 5 or 6. He's been awful. Like he'll have lights out 1 and 2, and then he'll just give up 5 and 3rd, and then damage is done. Like so, it's not been like Trea Turner hasn't done anything great this year to this point, and I think that's a big part of it too. As far as when you say, if you ask us who's been the most disappointing player, you still have to say him because those other two guys have done something that they were supposed to be doing this year. Still, he really hasn't. I mean, Ruben Amaro was begging him to steal the base the other night in the game. I don't know if you saw that or not. I think it was either Friday night or the night before that against the Marlins, where he was like the guy had a slow move off the mound. Turner's on first base. I think it was nobody out or 1 out, and Amaro's on the TV like what is he waiting for? Like go, but he's so scared to make a mistake.
Aaron Nola is second in the major leagues in home runs allowed right now in MLB. 26 homers allowed.
He hasn't been good overall. He has not been good.
But that's been the main issue is the long ball.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead,
right now, real quick with this Nola thing. Right now, we'd be in a wild card series with a best of 3 with the Giants, right? Give me a name. Nola, who would you want starting that second game, right? Because obviously Wheeler starts game 1. Who do you trust more to start that second game right now today, if that game was today? Aaron Nola or Ranger Suarez?
Aaron Nola.
You still got to go with Nola.
You're taking him over everyone. You're taking him over
dance with
over Taiwan.
Yeah, right now. I don't think.
I mean, Ranger hasn't been sharp either the last month.
He hasn't. And Taiwan Walker's had some blips too, but I don't know.
That's the weirdest. Dude, his year's been like, if you watch him, you're like, he's all right. But then his stats, he's been having a great year.
Who Walker?
Well, it's so inflated because of the wins too, though.
Yeah, the back end. My dad said
ERA is decent.
My dad sent me a text and he goes, Taiwan Walker looks like he throws a baseball that's been sitting in a bucket of water for 3 days. Like the ball he throws has nothing on it.
Nola since July, 4.78 ERA, 2 and 3. I mean, he's not playing good, man.
And that's that starts against the Pirates and the Royals in there.
Right. Yeah, I don't trust him right now, dude.
The Ranger can't throw strikes. Ranger's not throwing strikes either.
Well, I'm not taking Ranger. I'm taking Taiwan Walker, and I might be taking Lorenzen also at this point.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was going to say, the guys I trust really are Lorenzen and Chris Sanchez.
Yeah, Aaron Nola, 5 earned runs against the Kansas City Royals, 5 against the Pirates. I mean,
yeah, he's been
garbage.
Terrible. He's been terrible.
I
think this team at the end of the day is going to regret not adding a bullpen arm come playoff time. You can mark that down here.
Well, they
Well,
won't
they're-
regret not re-signing Aaron Nola in the offseason, I'll tell you that.
I think that they're still I think they're still hoping that Dominguez. I mean, I know he's pitched a couple times since he's come back. I think they're hoping he continues to get better and improve in time for the postseason. Alvarado gets healthy. Those are going to be like additions to that team.
We hope if they can return to form. Otherwise,
And
you're
we have to
relying
hope too that Kimbrel doesn't regress and get bad at a bad time.
He's scary every time he pitches. I know he's been great, but he scares me every time he's on
He's
the
a
mound.
heart attack. He always lets someone on. There's always a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in Kimbrel. I haven't felt scared with Kimbrel at all this year.
All I'm saying is even take Kimbrel off the table. If Dominguez or Alvarado don't return to form, you're all of a sudden relying on Hoffman and Marte in big leverage situations come playoff time, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, that's
As
tough.
good as they've been.
I was gonna say they've been good, but I mean Hoffman is, I think, leaking oil a little bit. But Marte, I think, has gotten better I mean, he was awful in like April, but ever since then, he's been pretty good. But to your point, yeah, that's not who you want to rely upon.
Not come playoff time. But we do want to split the segment. So any final thoughts before we move to the Eagles?
No,
For Trey.
My final thought is that I feel good about them. What are they? 10, 11 games over 500?
Yeah, they're 10 over 500. The teams below them are really leaking oil in the wild card race. It's going to take something terrible happening for them not to make the playoffs in some regard. So they should get in. It's just a matter of, again, is it going to be the Giants? Is it going to be the Brewers? Or is it going to be somebody else? And hopefully the series is at home.
Watch out for the
But
Cubs.
they're in a good spot. What'd you say?
Watch out for the Cubs.
Cubs are coming as well.
I don't know where or how, but they're getting it together.
Let's move it on. Let's go to the Eagles. Preseason starts this week. Al, you were at the opening training camp last night. So why don't you give us some observations on what you saw?